and welcome to the Boxing Day edition of Cracking the Cryptic, or the first Boxing Day edition of Cracking the Cryptic. I think Mark's going to do a video later as well. And again, a small caveat, with it being Boxing Day, it is possible I will be interrupted, but hopefully I won't, and hopefully I will get through what looks an intriguing puzzle today, which is sort of a follow-up to a puzzle I did a couple of weeks ago by the constructor SlowLarry, one of my favourite pseudonyms. Now, this puzzle on screen is a collaboration between SlowLarry and Philip Newman. Philip, who actually appeared on the channel just a couple of days ago with a Christmas-themed Sudoku. Well, this one is no such thing, but it does use this concept of friendly cells that we looked at in SlowLarry's earlier puzzle. So you might remember that, but if not, I'll read out how the rules work in just a second. Before we get on to that, I have had a couple of glasses of wine at lunchtime, so I cannot guarantee this solve will be, the normally perfect solve that I managed to come out with. We shall see. What do I want to mention before we kick off? Our Killer Sudoku app is out. I wholeheartedly recommend it to you. If you find yourself with some puzzling free hours over the Christmas period, it's certainly worth the money, and it's chock full of just wonderful, wonderful killer Sudokus. Also, yesterday I mentioned that we were almost ready with our solution video to the Tracking the Cryptid Sudoku hunt that's been so popular on Patreon over the last few weeks. Well, that has spurred many of you actually to get in your solutions. I don't know how you managed to do this, given that yesterday was Christmas Day. I can only assume you basically wolfed the turkey and then have been just doing Sudoku. But well done to Rob Frankham, Sotek, Sarah and Julie Helmers, Shainia. I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly. I'm trying. And today we even had an entry from Roseanne Spruitt. So I should also say happy birthday to her boyfriend Rick, who helped her with the final puzzle. So there we go, fantastic solving from all of you. Congratulations on getting through what is a very difficult but very good Sudoku hunt. Now let's read the rules out for this one. What have we got? We've got normal Sudoku rules apply, and then we have the concept of the friendly cell. So a friendly cell has a value identical to its row, column or box number counted in the standard way. The green lawn cells are friendly. Okay. For example, row 1, column 7, this cell must either be 1 to match the fact it's in row 1, 7 to match the fact it's in column 7, or 3 to match the fact it's in box 3. So that's how the friendly cells work. So basically counting the rows normally, this is row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, etc. Column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4, etc. This is box 1, box 2, box 3, box 4, etc. So basically that's why we're able to narrow down the value of these friendly cells using those conditions. Now additionally, an orthogonally connected one cell wide path, so the path cannot touch itself orthogonally, must be found between the cells marked with circles, such that every cell on the path, including the marked cells, is friendly but not lawn. Good grief. So we've got to build a snake. And by the sounds of it, the snake can touch itself diagonally. So let's draw an enormous snake. We could draw a snake. That would be okay, wouldn't it? And then we could go... I'm just trying to draw the biggest snake I can possibly draw. It's something like that. I think this would be a valid snake. Although the snake does touch itself here, it touches itself at a point. It doesn't share an edge. So this is okay, if I read the rules correctly. Now note, there could be friendly cells other than path or lawn in the puzzle. Okay. Along the marked arrows, marked arrows, yes, we do have these. Mark put this into the software for me, so I have not noticed all the features of this puzzle. Marked arrows here. The digits, along the marked arrows, the digits in the friendly cells, any friendly cells, whether lawn, path or otherwise, sum to the same total as the digits in the cells that are not friendly. Good grief. Okay, so that means along this diagonal here, there must be 1 or 2 friendly cells. You add up what the friendly cells add up to, and they should add up to whatever the unfriendly cells add up to along this diagonal. Good grief, that sounds very complicated. And yeah, that's all we get. So do have a go. This puzzle comes extremely highly recommended. Apparently it is something of a masterpiece. So the way to play, click the link under the video as usual. Now I get to play. Let's get cracking. And I suppose what we should do first is to mark up the possibilities for the green cells. So this is row 1, that's row 2, that's row 4, row 5, row 6, oops, row 8, row 9. This is column 1, column 2, column 3, column 7. Let's not make a mistake here and get the columns muddled up. Column 9. This is in box 3. This is in box 6. This is in box 4. This is in box 7. Okay. Now, unfortunately, that looks useless, doesn't it? That's not done anything. No, it really hasn't. Okay. Are the marked are these cells? These are friendly. Okay, so the snake cells, the head and tail of the snake are friendly cells as well. So I could have done this with them. This is in row 2, column 3, box 1. 1, 2, or 3. This is in row 8, column 7, box 9. 7, 8, 9. Still doesn't seem to reveal any secrets, does it? So how do we get a grip on the puzzle? I suppose the first thing that I'm sort of interested in is that in order to connect these two cells together, I can see that we have to cross the middle part of the grid an odd number of times, because like, if we just sort of meander down like this, that would be an absolutely valid way of doing it. But if we come this way and then decide we want to go up, we'll then come down again at some point, such that, I mean, this wouldn't work as a possible snake, but we've got to make sure we can cross the middle an odd number of times, because if we only go an even number of times, we will end up in the top of the grid. I mean, I presume we can come through. Oh, no, we can't. Okay, well this is important and rather beautiful, actually, because I was assuming initially that we could willy-nilly just wing our way down column 1 of the grid. I don't think we can, because you can see that if we do come down column 1 of the grid, these 3 squares, well actually these 4 squares, but in particular these 3 squares would have to be along the path, and therefore they have to be friendly. But what possible value would these friendly cells have? Let's actually do it. They're in column 1, they're in box 4, this one is in row 4, this one's in row 5, this one's in row 6. Well, the problem here is that we've not put 7, 8, 9 in the box. And 7, 8, 9, there are 3 digits there, a knowledge bomb from cracking the cryptic, and that domino is that only 2 cells where we could put the digits. So you can't use these 3 squares, well, we can't make those 3 squares friendly. So this is a dead end. Which we should probably notate with a colour. And we should especially notate with a colour I can see, so I don't like that one. We'll do that one. So this square can't be in now, because otherwise the snake has to go in and then sort of come back on top of itself, and that would certainly touch itself dramatically. These 2 cells also can't be snake, because the snake would have to wing its way around like that, and the snake would be touching itself orthogonally in these 2 squares. So these 2 are not in. Now, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to look here as well. Is it the same logic? So if these are friendly cells, it is. It's beautiful. This time it's not. Yeah, well, let's do it. Let's work through it. What are the possible friendly values of these 3 squares? And the problem is they can be 9 because they're in the 9th column, 6 because they're in the 6th box, and they can be 4, 5 and 6 in terms of the row numbers, but they can't be 1, 2 and 3. So they have to put 1, 2 and 3 into that domino, which also doesn't work. So these squares are also not in. This is not in. This is not in. And this domino isn't in because, again, we'd have to have a degenerate snake that touched itself far too often. Now, that's not in. So this is really cool now. This is really cool because now, thinking about the fact that we have to connect this to this using an only cross the middle an odd number of times, because we can't have that sort of snake, that's most certainly touching itself a lot, we must now just have, you know, this. However this gets through the middle, it only goes through the middle once. It doesn't loop back on itself. Okay, what do we do now? I don't really, I mean, one option actually is to label up the whole grid with the friendly possibilities. I don't really want to do that. I will have a look at the middle box, I think. Let's have it. So the middle box, that's obviously all in box 5. This row is row 4, that's row 5, we don't have to repeat the 5, that's row 6. This is column 4, so those two need 4. Column 5, column 6. Ah, well, that is a huge surprise. Good grief. That's absolutely massive in terms of solving the puzzle, frankly, because I hadn't realised that box 5 only has 3 possible friendly digits in it. That's incredible. So now, given that we know the snake has to take 1 position in row 4, it has to take at least 1 position in row 5 and at least 1 position in row 6 because it needs to traverse down through the grid. But if it can only pick from 3 different digits as the options for friendly cells in box 5 of the grid, it must come in a straight line. It can't meander at all. If it meanders, it will have to repeat a digit. So the snake, well, it's either doing this, or doing this. Do we know which one of those is correct? You probably do if you're cleverer than me. I can't see which one of these is correct. It does look though that like 5 in the middle is really interesting. Actually, these 2x2s are really interesting, full stop, because if you get a 5 in the middle, you know exactly what cells are in the 2x2s. If you get a 5 here, 5 can't appear in this one, so this would be 4 cells to pick from 2, 3, 4 and 6. And this one, if it couldn't have a 5, it would have to be 4, 6, 7 and 8. Still looks possible, actually, doesn't it? There's something nagging me. There's something nagging me about this. I'm sure if I hadn't had any wine, I would instantly be able to spot what this is, what's going on here. But if no, hang on. If this is 5, we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. Because if this is 5, because of the way the snake will have to move, we know it has to move and take 3 cells in a vertical line because it can't meander. You can see if this is 5, you've got to go 4, 5, 6 like this. And that, I think, fails because that rules 2 digits out of this 2x2 and 2 digits out of this 2x2. And you can't do that. Because if this doesn't have a 5 in it, it must have a 4 in it. Yeah, this doesn't work. If you remove 5 and 4 from this box, you've got to fill these 4 different cells with just 3 different digits, which is clearly not going to be possible. And because it works symmetrically, if we remove the 6 and the 5 from this side, we've got 2, 3 and 4 to finish the blocks. So that just does not work. So this is not snake. That's what we get from that, which means we can delete the digits. They are not correct. So we're left with either coming down... now if we come down this side, look, we get a 4-5 pair, and this would have to be the 6. So let's actually label this up. If this is 6, that would get rid of 6 from these two. Force a 5 here. Yeah, actually, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, so... we can think about this in 2 ways, sorry. Let's think, this can never be 4, 5, 6 like this. For exactly the same reason this couldn't be 4, 5, 6. It breaks both sides of the grid. So, but the way I actually got to that then was noticing that if this was 6, it forces a 5 into this domino. And that places the 4 and the 5 above it. So it has to look like this. So this is one possibility. Let's go back to this, and I don't want to put big digits in because these are contingent on which direction the snake goes in. So one option is 6, 4, 5. Now if it comes this way, on the other hand, we get a 5, 6 pair. This is a 4. Again, you can't go 4, 5, 6. So you've got to go 4, 6, 5. So 4, 6, 5. Now, what's wrong with this? I don't know. So something is wrong with one of these alternatives. And that... I'm so sorry if you guys can spot it instantly. I'm not seeing it. One thing that's quite interesting, though, is whichever one of these is correct. Yeah, if this was correct, you get a 5 in this domino. That's beautiful. Oh, please, hang on a minute. So if we rule... Let me just think this through. Hang on, I just want to think about this to see if it goes anywhere. So if this is 6, you end up with 5. There's no 6 in here. There's no 5 in here. Right. I have spotted something. This is really very elegant indeed. So it's something to do, I think, with the fact that whichever one of these cells turns out to be correct, it doesn't really matter in one sense, which is that whichever one of these is correct, you can see it rules out itself from its associated 2x2. So if this 4 is correct, you can no longer put a 4 in this 2x2. And that means that the other digits that appear as possibilities in this 2x2 all have to be in there somewhere. So if we remove 4 from here, we have to put 5, 6, 7 and 8 into those 4 squares. But the critical thing is there must be a 5 in one of those 2 cells. Now, that means, look, you couldn't put a 5 in this side. So if 4 is correct, you lose a 4 from this 2x2, and you lose a 5 from this 2x2. Whereas... and this is where it's so clever. If 6 is correct here, you lose the 6 from this one, but the 5 has to go in one of these two, so you lose the 5 from the other one. So you always lose a 5 from one side, and you always lose a 4 or a 6 from the other side, which means the other digits in these options are all in their foursomes. Now, why does that matter? Well, I think it matters less on this side than it does on this side, but let's go through it. If we know this is either losing 5 or 6, it must have a 2. So there's a 2 in one of those two squares. There's a 3 in one of these two squares. And that 3 sees that cell. The 2 sees that cell. Actually, I've just noticed something else about this. 1, 7, 8 and 9 are not appearing in those 4 cells. But they are in these 2 cells. So whatever appears in these 2 cells must appear in those 2 cells in box 4, which is probably worth noting. Anyway, that's a different point. If we come back over to this side, we know this 4x4 is either losing a 4 or a 5, so it definitely has a 7, which means there's a 7 in one of these 2 squares, which is rather gorgeous. But this 8, oh my goodness me, this 8, we're going to get digits up here, I think, because I think we're going to lock 7 and 8 out of that top pair. So 7 can't appear in this column. Get rid of 7s. 8s can't appear in this column. 1, 3 pair. We get a 2. We get a 9. We get a 1. There's a 1 in one of those cells. This is beautiful because although I still have no clue which of these is correct, but it doesn't matter, we're still able to make progress. It's a beautiful idea, this. Really is clever setting. Now, can we go further though? This is not 1 anymore, I suppose, because of the 1 there. Nine has to go in one of those 2 cells by Sudoku. This square is 7, 8 or 9. It is therefore unfriendly in the sense that this is in row 4, column 3 and box 4 of the Sudoku. So this can never be snake. Therefore I'm labelling it grey. Now this can't ever enter this domino because it would touch itself as it came out again. And now this can't ever turn left because it can never go into any of those cells, because to do so will require it to touch itself on the way out. Don't let your snake touch itself. You can see if, for example, it comes up and turns, to get out of the box it will have to touch itself along a long edge. So those squares are all impossible. These 2 I don't think are impossible because the snake could still just do that. So I don't know what to do now. Perhaps what we need to do is to label up the cells that I really don't want to label up all of these cells with their possibilities, I have to say. Is that what I have to do, or is there something clever that I should be spotting here? Whichever one of these is 9 is not going to be friendly. Three is interesting, look. This cell is unfriendly. That's beautiful as well. Look, this square, if this was friendly, what would it be? It would have to be 3 because it's in row 3 and column 3, or 1, but it's in box 1, so it's not friendly. Now this is really constraining our 1 clue now, or the way this snake comes out. This snake either comes out there or like that. So if it comes out across the top, no, it can't. Oh, sorry, I've been slow here. There's no way it can take this square ever. It's a bit like this square. What are the options for this square in terms of friendliness? It's in row 1, it's in box 1, and it's in column 3. Well, it sees a 1 and a 3 in many ways. So this is an unfriendly cell. So in fact, the snake comes comes right immediately. Let's make it purple. Let's make all the snake purple. So this is a friendly cell. This fixes it. This fixes the puzzle. Well, not the whole puzzle, but it fixes the big conundrum in the puzzle. Why does it fix the puzzle? Because of this 2. This 2 removes the possibility of this being a friendly 2, and you can see it's in box 2 and it's in row 2 of the grid. So the only option left for this to be friendly, and we know it's friendly, is it has to be in column 4. That has to be a 4, and that 4 sees that square. So this is not the way the snake can develop. So this is all turning grey. We can get rid of the digits from it. This is correct now. Turn it purple. It's got to come up through the gap. I'm not sure what it does down there yet, but these now we know the digits. That's 4, that's 6, that's 5. Get rid of 6 from those 2 squares. Get rid of 4 from these 2 squares. So we now know that this is 5, 6, 7, and 8 as a quadruple, not triple. What else do we know? Probably lots that I'm not spotting, but let me just... This square is friendly, and this is in row 3. Column 6 is no good. Box 2. Right, so this is not 1, because it can only be a 2 or a 3 given it's friendly. And that square's impossible. The snake can't go there, because this is in box 2 and row 2. We've already looked at the effect of this 2 on that, and it's in column 6, which rules the other possibility out. So this has to turn that way, where presumably it still can't be a 1. Yeah, what are the friendly options here? Row 3, column 5, box 2. Oh, okay. Well, at least we get the 1. The 1 now, why is that not working? The 1 has to go there. At least that can't be friendly either. Because this is row 3, column 4, and box 2. So the snake now must take that square, and that completes the top of the snake. All of this turns grey. Let's do that. This square is friendly, and it's not 2, and so it's going to take the column value, which is 5. Oh dear, this is a very good puzzle. It really is clever, this. 1 now must make an appearance in there and in there. So can this be a friendly cell? That's the next cell that catches my eye. So if this is friendly, it is either, it's in row 6, box 6, column 7. Well, it can't be 7, I can see that. No, it can't. This cannot be friendly, because its only possible friendly values are 6 and 7. Well, it sees a 6 in this quadruple and a 7 in the column, or also in the quadruple, therefore in the box. So this is not, it's not 6 or 7. It could still be 9, but it's definitely not purple, which means that must be purple. So this is friendly. So it can't be 6, look, because 6 is already in the column. So it's 7 or 8. So it's not 1. So now those 2 squares must also be grey. Let's not let the snake touch itself again. Maybe I should use this diagonal, actually. I've not used that yet. Yeah, let's look at this. So the rule here is that, let me just read the rule again. There's got to be, there's got to be at least 1 friendly and at least 1 unfriendly cell along this diagonal, because the friendly and the unfriendly cells have to be equal to one another. So when we add them up. So one of these must be friendly. So if we look at the friendly options, we might be able to work out which one, especially as this 9 here. Yes, this 9 here is ruling out this being a 9 in its box or a 9 in its column. So if this is friendly, it has to take its row value, which is 7, which is possible, maybe. It's probably not possible for a reason that you're all shouting at me about, but I can't see immediately why this can't be 7. This one is in row and column 8, but it sees an 8 in its column already, so it's not 8, and it's in box 9. So if this is friendly, it can be a 9 only, I think. That would make this square an 8. Don't know. This one is in row 9 and box 9. And what else is it in? Column 7, which it can't be a 7. So the options for the friendly cells here are 7, 9 and 9, which means there's only one friendly cell. Because if there are 2 friendly cells, they would add up to 16, and the other cell would have to be a 16, which is not going to work. But I don't think I know which one of these is friendly. I know. One thing I do know is that the snake now can't come to the right. It's the same logic as we did up there. If the snake comes this way ever, it can't get out without touching itself. So all of those squares are not snake. So the snake either closes immediately. If this square is not snake, the snake closes in one of those 2 positions instantly. So, and if this square is snake, we know it has to be a 9, because it has to be friendly, and 9 is the only digit it has at its disposal. So it would actually have to go 8, 9, and then this square, which can't be a 6. What could it be then? Oh no, it can't be 9 or 6. It would have to be its box number, which is 8. Is 8 possible? 9? Sorry, it's going 8, 9. It would have to go 8 again. Then it would have to go... got you. I've spotted it. This doesn't work. Let's look at this. So let's imagine we're trying to make the snake not close quickly. So we're trying to keep the snake coming this way. Well, to do that, it has to go into this square. So this would have to be purple. Given it comes into this square, it's got to come into this square as well. Now, it must not touch itself orthogonally, so it also has to take this cell. So our challenge is to fill all these 3 squares with valid friendly numbers. This one can only be 9, because we've already looked at it on that diagonal. This one can only be 8, because it's in row 9, it's in column 6, which is already a 6 in it, and it's in box 8, so it has to be 8. Now, this little cell now has no option. It's in column 5. 5 is impossible. It's in box 8. 8 is impossible. It's in row 9. 9 is impossible. So this does not go down. And therefore we can do a lot of greying, because we know that however this moves, it either takes this cell or this cell, and that will close the snake. So everything else is grey. And that means... well, I'm going to check them out. What does this? What if this is friendly? If this is a snake, we know it's friendly. So if it's friendly, it's either 7, which it can't be, because this is amazing. It's in column 7 and row 7, so that just doesn't work because there's a 7 looking at it. So it would have to be a 9, which we don't know that these are. This is getting, my pencil marks are getting really difficult here. So if this is friendly, it has to be a 9, and that would rule out these being friendly and make this an 8, and it would make this have to be a friendly 7. Whoa, it's all getting confusing. But I think 9 is probably possible here. Let's check this one. If this is snake, it's in row 8. It's in box 8, and it's in column 6. So it has to be 8. Which is beautiful. That is beautiful. So what we can say with certainty at this point is that whichever way the snake goes, whether it goes to this cell or this cell, there must be a 9 in one of these two cells. And we know that because if the snake turns right here, it has to be a 9 because it's the only friendly digit that we can put in this square. If the snake doesn't take this square, it comes down to this square. This square's only option is 8, which forces this to be a 9. As there's a 9 in one of these two squares, these two cells here cannot be friendly. So we can remove 9. This, therefore, has to be a 7, and it has to be friendly. But it's obviously not on the snake. 9 is in one of those two, so 9 is not there. 9 must go here. The 7, the friendly 7, sees that cell. That's an 8. That rules this out from being an 8. And the snake must come here and be a 9. That is just stunning, isn't it? That is so beautiful. Now that means that's an 8 by Sudoku. 8 must be here by Sudoku. 8's not there anymore. There's all sorts going on now. We still don't know how this foursome resolves itself. But we do know that this is a friendly cell, which means these two cells have to add up to 7. So they've got limited options now. They're either 1, 6, 2, 5, or 3, 4. That can't be 2, so that can't be 5. 7 by Sudoku has to go in that cell, look. 6 and 8. Where does 6 and 8 go? In fact, I'm going to get rid of all the grey. We don't need the grey anymore. It's all getting a bit colourless. Yeah, sorry. Where does 6 and 8 go in this box? They have to go in those two squares. So these two squares are 7 and 9. There's a 9 here. Let's put those in. 9, 7. Seven and 9. This row needs 3, 6, and 8. So this square can't be 3 and it can't be 8. That's a 6. That's a naked single. This is a 3, 8 pair. The 6 here is lovely. The 6 here fixes this foursome. That one's got to be a 7. Therefore, this one's a 5, this one's an 8, this one's a 6. That 5 sees the 5s over here. Actually, we could have done that before I knew there was a 5 in there, didn't I? From the earlier logic. So this is 2, 3, 4, 6. I'm sure there's a way of figuring this out. I just don't know what it is. 8 here is ruling out an 8 from that cell, look. So this is now 1, 7, 9 triple. Right, this is nice. So this means in this triple, there must be a 1 in this column. That means 2 things, actually, that are rather beautiful. 3 things that are rather beautiful. No, I can't get a 4th thing, but I've got 3 things. Right, so there's a 1 in one of these two squares. There's a 1 in one of these two squares. So where does 1 go in row 7? It has to go there. That fixes the 1 and the 3. Oh, if I'd seen the 1 and the 3, I would have counted that as a 4th beautiful thing, but I didn't. Now, so these two squares now are 4 and 5, I think, which means that square has to be 2 or 3 because this is adding up to 7. There's probably more we can do there, but I can't see what it is. So coming back over here, this 1, the fact we know there's a 1 in one of these two squares means there must be a 1 in one of those two squares from the earlier logic that we did. So it must go in that cell, which might be useful. But the other thing I was thinking is that this square now, this square actually is known because there's a 7 here. That square's a 9, which means this needs to be a 1-9 pair to marry up with that. So let's delete this. We need this to be a 1-9 pair. The 9... Oh, hang on, I've forgotten which... the 9 has to be in that position. So that's a 9, that's a 7, that's a 1, that's a 1. 7 is not there. 9 is exactly there by Sudoku, look. Still haven't resolved this. Probably I've missed something that would enable me to do that. And where do we look for our next breakthrough? This column needs 2. This column needs 2, 3, and 4. That square can only be a 4. So this is a 2 or a 3. This needs to be 5 and 8. There's an 8 in one of those, so we know the order there. That's 8, that's 5. So we know those 6 digits in effect, and you can see we need 2, 4, and 7 along there. There's a 2 here in this domino, so this is a 4. This must be a 2-7 pair, which we don't know the order of, but it does mean those two squares are known. They've got to be 5 and 6, I think. Let me just check that. Yeah, that does look right, doesn't it? And these 3 squares are also known. And they include 5, actually. They include 5, 7, and 8, which means this is 7. This is a 5-8 pair, which we know. 5, 8. That fixes the 8, the 3. Fixes the 5 and the 6. This square, look. Well, we know the 7 and the 2 go in. This square's now got to be a 4. Now surely this 4, this 4 is fixing some of this. 2, 4, 6. That's not 6. This is a 3, 4 pair. Oh. That's still not quite done, I don't think. Why is that not done? Don't know. This is a 3, 5 pair. So this is a 2, 6 pair. Sorry about this. I thought this would get easier at this point, but it's not. There's a 2, 3 pair here in column 6. We need 1 and look, we need 1 and 4 somewhere in box 6. They can only go in these two squares because there's a 1, 4 in row 4 already. So this square's a 2 or a 3. 2, 3, and 8 along there. Don't think we know the order yet. Here we've got 2, 3, and 6 into the bottom of the grid. 2, 3, 6 triple. Look, row 8. 2, 3, 6 triple. So this square has to be a 5. That's a 3. The 5 fixes that one. It's a 4. That's a 5. And the this diagonal these two squares had to add up to 7 to make sure that this funny rule that goes along diagonals works. So that's a 3. That gives us a 2, 6 pair. That means that's a 3. That's a 2. And we might be on the home straight. I don't know why I said that. That was daft. No. The 5 is not... Oh, the 5 now is known. The 5 must be in that square, I think. So this should be a 2 or a 6. Is that a 2, 3, 6, 8 quadruple? Don't see many of them around here, but there is one. That is a 2, 3, 6, 8 quadruple. So along with the 5, we're looking at 1, 4, 7, and 9 into these cells. Well, that one's got to be a 4 then, because that's seeing 1, 7 and 9 in the row. So the 1, 7 and 9 go into these cells. I'm not sure I do know the order of those. Let's put it in and see. That's 7. That's not 9. That's not 1. No, I still don't seem to know the order. This has got to be 2 or 6. So there's a 2, 6 pair here, which means that's a 3. That fixes the 3 and the 2 up there. Now I've got a 2, 6 pair, which means this should be a 7 or a 9. Still resisting. Don't believe it. 7 or a 9 there. What am I missing? Oh, I've got another of these funny clues in the diagonal. Sorry. Right, we're going to have to look at this. So what's going on along this diagonal? So I have to work out what the well, I can see some friendly cells. Those are friendly. Those two are friendly. So there's definitely 4 friendlies. Is that friendly or unfriendly? A 7 in that position is unfriendly. So we'll label that a different colour. We'll make that... Actually, I don't like that colour. We'll make it red. Yeah, okay, red. Actually, I'm not that keen on that colour. Maybe I'll make it yellow. No. Orange. I'll go back to orange. So this is unfriendly. This one is a 2 or an 8. If it was friendly... No, we know it. We know friendlies are 4, 5 and 6 in the middle box. This is unfriendly as well. Not that one. So this is unfriendly. This one, if it was friendly, it would be 7, 1 or 7. So that's also unfriendly. So there are 3 unfriendlies and 4 friendlies in this diagonal. Right, okay, this can't be 8. If this is 8, those 3 would add up to 19. There is simply no way that those cells add up to 19. So this is 2, and that's probably going to crack the puzzle. 2, 8, 8, 6, 2, 6, 6, 2. 6, 6, 2 again. Oh, so maybe I still have to... Well, I suppose I've got this as a 2 now, so that's going to fix this one, because now I've got... Sorry, let me just do this slowly. I've got 4. I've got 10 in the friendly so far, and I've got 13 in the unfriendly. So this has to be a 3, and that better finish this, or I'm in real trouble. That gives me... Yes, that's going to finish it. There we go. What a beautiful puzzle this is. That should be a 3. I'm going to click check. Yes. What a brilliant puzzle. I love that. That is so original and so clever. And it may not be Christmas themed, but it's made me feel quite Christmassy. So I hope you enjoyed watching. Thanks so much for staying with us these last few months. And we hope that you've got some relief from what we do here. And we'll be back later, of course, with another edition of Cracking the Cryptic.